Hey everybody, back again. This is part 3 of how to make a wicking garden barrel. Okay, so this is where we left off on our last video here. The upper barrel has been cut, slid inside, sort of sliced off along the edge, and the ring has been removed so that we can slide it right in place. There's a hole cut here for the pipe work, and a hole cut through here, which has a screw-on connector. Thank you, Kay, for a comment on my last video, which was that there was not really necessarily a need to go sideways with the vertical, or the horizontal pipe, I should say. I'm going to pull this out so I can show you what I'm talking about. So here it is. So instead of it having these holes on the horizontal pipe, I decided it makes more sense to remove the elbow, and take the pipe, shorten it a little bit, and make this cut pipe the standing pipe. And I made these little slits on the base of this pipe so that when it stands on the bottom, hopefully it doesn't plug up the hole. It just as it comes up with the water level, it still fills from various points. And this way it's easily removable as well. You can just sort of slide it back in place and hook it back together. Okay, so here it is all back together again. So the fill pipe comes up, full of water. Or here's the cap that you can use to fill your garden hose. Bring it over and fill that right up. As it gets to its overflow point, it overflows through here. This is another connection that can be hooked up the barrels to one another, or it can be hooked up directly to a rain tank. Just have a bivalve, 2-directional valve for like a garden hose situation, and the overflow from the rain barrel could be hooked up to that, and then one could hook up to the next or to the overflow. So moving on to the next step, because this is all looking pretty good. I should mention that I think I'll probably glue all this sort of stuff with the ABS pipe material, or the glue, and leave this one open so that I can remove it if I want to, and then I can just pull this straight up. I can remove this whole thing, and all parts will be then accessible. I also tested the water leak proof for this, and even hand tight, I put some water through, like I put a 90-degree on this side and tested it, and it was fine. So I think I'm probably just not going to bother sealing this, or even putting silicone here like I mentioned in the previous video. Okay, so this is 3 different wicking materials that I've been testing. It's some sort of polyester or nylon sheets. This is landscape fabric, and this is a nylon rope. And I put them in this cup down here, and I tried to test all the different things to see how much water would come up. And this did fairly terribly. This did fairly terribly. But the nylon rope does much better than the others. It's only been a few minutes, and it's already made it up, close to 20 centimeters maybe. And I suspect it can do a lot better than that, especially as I unravel it further. So that'll be one of my wick choices. I'll get back to you with that next. Okay, here I am doing the next step. I'm trying just to unravel all these strands, and then as I do that, I'll come along and unravel these strands as well, and try to make it as loose as I can, and I'll get back to you when that's done. Okay, so as it's all unraveled, it should look something like this, all finely stranded, and now I will bring on to the next step. Okay, so what I've decided to do, which I think will work pretty well, is I've drilled a couple of small holes, and I'll just show you on the other side. Basically, I've made it all loose, like I said, and then I tied a knot here so that it can't pull back through the other side. And I'm going to thread the other end through this hole here, which I've already basically marked and measured. If I can get this messy strand through, as I'm hoping I can, and then I'll get back to you when I do that. Okay, so I managed to get it through the hole on the other side. I tied another knot, which should seems like it'll hold, and I'll show you the view from underneath. So my little wicks will dangle down made of nylon, not organic material, otherwise you'll have to replace them in a year and they might end up stinking. But I'm going to do a few more like that, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so that's what it looks like. These nylon wicks are going to dangle in the water, and then as it creeps up, hopefully it'll creep across the bottom of the soil surface, and they've been tied off so they can't slip. And hopefully that'll make all of this area nice and wet, or at least moist, for the plant's roots to sort of drink up off of. So now we'll get the next step going here in a second. Okay, so there it is back in place, wicks installed. Now I mentioned in my other videos that I actually had two different styles of wicks, and this is the second one. So I've made some notches in these wood, and I've cut them a couple of random pieces, kind of shaved off the bark a little bit. The plan is to put them in this hole and this hole, and have them wick up water in the same way that the nylon wicks will. So I'm just going to install that now. Alright, so those two are in place now. Same sort of thing, they just got a log sitting vertically and held in place by the barrel's bung hole, I think it's called. Anyway, so I'll bring on to the next step now. Okay, looks a little different now. I took a piece of landscape fabric and I just sort of like tucked it down into all the crevices. It may hold the soil even without this, but this is just sort of like a secondary layer of protection, so it keeps your reservoir nice and clean. I poked the hole through it, but I don't think too much soil is going to squeeze in between the two layers there. And also, if you ever want, you can just sort of take the cap off, and you know, a friend can grab the other side and they can hoist all the soil almost all out at once, except for the little bit that might fall through this hole here. So that makes emptying them out and cleaning up later, if you ever wanted to empty them, pretty easy. And so I think I will take it to the next step then. Alright, so I just decided to tie a little bit of a wire around here temporarily. As I fill it with soil, it's going to want to like sag in a little bit more than it is now. And when I finally know where it's definitely going to sit at, I'm probably going to trim off a fair amount of this excess cloth, and then I think it'll be just about ready to plant. I have not sealed any of these connections. It may not even be necessary. If you're building one, it'll be up to you if you want to do that. I think I'm probably going to go back and seal these connections, so I might not film that. But either way, I think it's probably pretty much good to go. And like I said, it's built in such a way that if you needed to, you could take all the parts apart again and fix whatever's wrong with it. So far so good. I think I'll wrap it up there because it's getting a bit long, but I will show you the planting in part 4 of how to build a wicking barrel planter. Thanks a lot for watching.